All right, now, Gil, if you could give Ja one piece of advice, and I want you to look into your camera. If you could give Ja one piece of advice, what would that be?
At 23, you really are not really listening to anybody at the time because we feel invincible. So I want to let them know that you're not invincible, right?
Why Ja Morant could face lengthy suspension as NBA investigates Grizzlies star's latest off-court incident. Morant was already suspended for at least 2 games by the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant was suspended for at least 2 games by the Memphis Grizzlies after he appeared to brandish a gun at a Denver area club in a social media video over the weekend after a game against the Nuggets. But, the star guard could potentially end up serving a much longer suspension if it turns out that he brought the gun on team premises. That includes Memphis plane, bus or locker room. The league and Colorado police have launched investigations into the situation, and the NBA could ultimately decide to fine Morant, or hit him with a lengthy suspension if he's found guilty of wrongdoing. Former NBA player Jalen Rose, who was in a similar situation in his young NBA career, had some good advice for the young superstar.
Like, you guys have got a chance to see me grow up for public consumption since 1991. And I've been involved in drug raids. I've survived assassination attempts. I've been that undisciplined young person that was trying to figure out how to be famous, how to be successful, and how to change the dynamics of my family. The one thing that young people have to understand, and in Ja Morant's case, when you first get drafted, you go from being a member of the family, a member of the crew, to being the leader, to being the breadwinner. And first and foremost, I hear a lot of people talking about like his family and his crew. When you the leader, it's on you, because you end up searching that lifestyle. You end up wanting to be down. And what I had to learn is that people come into your life for 4 reasons: to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. You have to choose wisely. He has way too much to lose. Trust me, I've been that young player carrying a gun. And Wilbon alluded to this. When you start waving it, that could get you killed. That's an entirely different thing than we're talking about. A superstar athlete should be putting themselves in position. And as Stephen A. mentioned, that's him on the video, on his IG Live. Ain't nobody coaxing him. Ain't nobody ain't nobody egging him on to do that. That's a personal choice. And a lot of times, guys, as I mentioned, fame can be a drug. And I don't know what type of pain that he deals with and type of anxiety that he has, or what types of substances that he may be using. And I'm glad in this statement that he owned that I need to make changes for me, because as the leader, as the breadwinner, you control the environment. The people that are around you, you select. And a lot of times, unfortunately, and Wilbon alluded to this also, when we start to get fame, when we start to get money, then we try to feel like we keeping it real. Like we trying to be down now. We trying to be tough now. We trying to be hard now. But you made it. And once you make it, your job is to uplift, to enlighten. And I'm glad this actually happened at this point of his life. He's a 23-year-old young man. Nobody got arrested. Nobody got injured. And I'm hearing too many stories about pistols.
The current collective bargaining agreement between the NBA and NBPA states explicitly that a player is prohibited from carrying a firearm while traveling on any league-related business. So the question becomes, did Morant have the gun on team premises? That's likely exactly what the league is looking into at this point. Here's the direct wording from the CBA regarding the possession of a firearm by a player. Section 9. Firearms and other weapons. Whenever a player is physically present at a facility or venue owned, operated, or being used by a team, the NBA, or any league-related entity, and whenever a player is traveling on any NBA-related business, whether on behalf of the player's team, the NBA, or any league-related entity, such player shall not possess a firearm of any kind or any other deadly weapon. For purposes of the foregoing, a facility or venue includes, but is not limited to, an arena, a practice facility, a team or league office or facility, an all-star or NBA playoff venue, and the site of a promotional or charitable appearance. Any violation of Section 9A or Section 9B shall be considered conduct prejudicial to the NBA under Article 35D of the NBA Constitution and bylaws, and shall therefore subject the player to discipline by the NBA in accordance with such article. The Commissioner shall have the power to suspend for a definite or indefinite period, or to impose a fine not exceeding $1 million, or inflict both such suspension and fine upon any person who, in his opinion, shall have been guilty of conduct prejudicial or detrimental to the association. So basically, if Morant is found guilty of violating the CBA, it will be up to Commissioner Adam Silver to hand down a punishment. At that point he can choose to fine Morant up to $1 million, and/or serve a suspension. There isn't an established suspension length for the situation, so if Morant is suspended by the league, the length will be at Silver's discretion. During the 2009 to 2010 NBA season, Washington Wizards guards Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton were both suspended for the remainder of the season for bringing guns into the team locker room.
Now, Gil, if you could give Ja one piece of advice, and I want you to look into your camera, if you could give Ja one piece of advice, what would that be?
At 23, you really are not really listening to anybody at the time because we feel invincible. So I want to let them know that you're not invincible, right? We're not. This is just the beginning, and everyone that comes into contact with you, you're not going to be able to trust because you don't know if they're trying to trip you up some more. You don't know if they're going to be genuine. So now this is really a eye-opener to see what the world is really like. Your life has actually changed, and you don't even know. When it comes to tiers, you were a one-tier player. You're supposed to be the future. And then this is just real reality, because no one's going to tell you this. You are number one. You, Luka, Tatum, all that. They have now bumped you to tier 2, tier 3. No matter what you go out there and do, moving forward for at least the next 3 years, you're going to be behind those players because of the image. You're going to have to really sit back and re-image yourself, unfortunately. It's just one of those things where, you want to be mindful, but you still have to be a little real. If you don't get voted in the All-Star game, those coaches are going to look the other way. I mean, a lot of things are going to happen no matter how good you play. So, it's one of these things where for the next 3 years, you're really going to have to duck your head and just play basketball, still keep your same personality and not get in trouble for you to get back to who you were 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago before any of this started. So, I just want to tell you that, it's going to be a tough one, especially mentally, just watching how everything unfolds around you. But just understand at the end of this dark tunnel, there will be light. And, the Kobes, me now have came out of it, just stay strong, keep working, and then, let your game play for itself. Right now, this is when you really just shut the world out and just play basketball and, just try to be mindful of the things you say, the things you do. But it's going to be, you're going to have to, work on your image again for you to be put back in that top 3, because no matter what anyone tells you, you are now in top 2, top 3. You're going to be the Trae Young, you're going to be averaging 28 and 10, and you're going to somehow leave you off the All-Star game. All that's about to happen, unfortunately. But, just mentally be prepared for it and, just keep going.
It ended up being a 50-game suspension for Arenas. Obviously the situation isn't exactly the same. But there isn't a ton of precedent here. After he was suspended by the Grizzlies, Morant, who has been involved in a string of off-court incidents in recent months, released a statement apologizing to those he impacted and vowing to get help. "I take full responsibility for my actions last night," Morant said in the statement. "I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.